Hello everyone. Today we're going on a trip into the heart of a festival that fills the world with joy, strong feelings, and deep meaning. Janmashtami, the celebration of Krishna's birthday. We all know the stories of the playful butter thief, the godly driver in the Mahabharata, the one who loved Radha. But besides these well-known stories, there's a whole world of facts and traditions that most people don't know about. These show how truly deep and wide this celebration is. This isn't just about one day of parties, it's about something big that has crossed countries and oceans, bringing with it a timeless spiritual message. In this video, we'll find out some surprising things about Janmashtami. We'll see how a festival, which started deep in India, has found a place as a national holiday in a nearby country. We'll also see how its special practices are done from the busy streets of Mumbai to the peaceful temples in North America and Europe. We'll look past the fun parties to understand the meanings, the ideas, and the strong feelings that millions of people have for Krishna. Come with me as we look closer at this old festival. We'll find out about special ways of celebrating, see how far it reaches around the world, and touch on the deep spiritual meaning that makes Janmashtami more than just a birthday. It's like an invitation to understand God not as someone far away and scary, but as a close, fun, and easy-to-reach friend, guide, and protector. Let's start exploring the many worlds of Krishna's birth. When we think of Janmashtami, our minds immediately picture places like Mathura, Vrindavan, or maybe Dwarka. We see it as a festival that is truly Indian. But what if I told you that one of our closest neighbors officially makes this day a national holiday? Yes, in Bangladesh, Janmashtami, or Shubho Janmashtami as they call it there, is a public holiday. This is a strong reminder of the shared culture and history of this part of the world, from a time before today's borders were made. The celebration has colorful parades called Mangal Shobhajatra that move through the streets of Dhaka and other cities. This shows how strong Krishna's stories still are. This isn't just a small gesture, it shows how important the Vaishnava way of life is in Bangladesh. The celebrations there are lively, full of music, dancing, and readings from the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. It teaches us that the idea of Krishna, the perfect God, goes beyond political and religious differences. It speaks to a common human desire for joy, for godly playfulness or lila, and for a connection to a God who understands human feelings. The festival's status in Bangladesh is a beautiful example of how old traditions can help people get along and respect each other. The sound of Krishna's flute isn't just heard in the gardens of Vrindavan. Its music is heard all over the world. The worldwide celebration of Janmashtami is a fairly new thing, but it's one of the most amazing stories of how culture spreads. A big reason for this has been the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, or ISKCON. Started by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada in New York City in 1966, this group brought the ideas of Gaudiya Vaishnavism to the West and beyond. Today, ISKCON temples from London to Los Angeles, from Durban to Dublin, become the main places for big Janmashtami parties. These celebrations are a cool mix of old Indian ways and local cultural expressions. You'll see people from all over the world singing the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, taking part in the Abhishekam, which is a special bath for the god statue, and eating big vegetarian meals. In places like Fiji, which has a lot of people from India, the celebrations are a huge community event. In North America and Europe, universities and community centers hold events that teach new people about Krishna's story. It shows that Krishna's appeal, who represents love, smartness, and joy, is truly for everyone, able to touch hearts and minds in every part of the world. In the state of Maharashtra, the deep meaning of Krishna's Lila, or godly play, turns into an exciting, athletic, and wonderfully messy event, the Dahi Handi. This tradition is a direct acting out of Krishna's childhood tricks. As a young boy in Vrindavan, Krishna, with his friends, the Gopas, was famous for stealing butter and curd, or dahi, which the gopis would hang high up in pots to keep it away from him. But no height was too much for the godly child. He would make human pyramids with his friends to get to the tasty treat, which earned him the name Makhan Chor, or the butter thief. Today, this playful act of mischief is turned into a spectacular community sport. Groups of young men called Govindas travel through cities like Mumbai and Pune, trying to make tall human pyramids to break an earthen pot filled with curd, milk, and sometimes money, hung high above the streets. It's a show of huge energy, teamwork, and belief. The pyramid itself is like a picture. It shows the combined human effort needed to reach a higher goal, the divine. Breaking the pot means reaching a spiritual understanding, a moment of happy success that everyone in the community shares. For many people who believe, Janmashtami isn't just a day for eating and celebrating, but also a day for deep spiritual practice, shown through fasting. The practice of Varat or fasting is a way to clean the body and mind, to let go of fun things we feel with our senses and focus our thoughts completely on God. The fasts done on Janmashtami are different in how strict they are. Many people do a simple fast, not eating grains and only having fruits, milk, and special Vrat foods. This lets them take part in the day's activities while still feeling serious and devoted. However, for those who are more dedicated, there is the nirjala fast. Nirjala literally means without water. This is one of the strictest ways of fasting, where the person fasting doesn't have any food or water for the whole day. It is honestly an act of huge willpower and giving in. The fast, no matter what kind, is usually broken only at midnight, the moment Krishna is thought to have been born. Breaking the fast is a special act, showing the end of the long wait for God to arrive, and the start of godly light and joy in the person's heart. It changes a physical act of not having something into a deep spiritual experience. If fasting means being disciplined, then the Chappan Bhog means lots of godly good things and huge love. Chappan means 56, and Bhog means food offered to a god. This tradition involves making and offering a huge spread of 56 different food items to Lord Krishna on Janmashtami. The sight of this offering is, honestly, amazing. A food-based way to show devotion, with a big variety of sweets, salty snacks, grains, fruits, and drinks. It's not just about how much there is. Each dish is made with great care and a pure heart, meant as a personal offering to make God happy. There are several nice stories that explain the number 56. One popular story is about the 8 meals Krishna would usually eat each day. When he lifted the Govardhan hill to protect the people of Vrindavan from Lord Indra's anger, he stood holding the mountain for 7 straight days, without eating. To show their huge thanks, the villagers made a feast of all his favorite foods, offering him 8 meals for each of the 7 days he had protected them, which adds up to 56. This tradition, really shows the followers' wish to serve and feed God, a way of showing love that is both grand and very personal. Among the big feast of the Chappan Bhog, one simple offering has a special place in Krishna's heart and in the Janmashtami traditions, Makhan Mishri. This is a plain mix of freshly made white butter, or makhan, and rock sugar crystals, known as mishri. While it might seem simple, its meaning is actually quite deep. Butter stands for the pure, untouched part of milk, which comes from hard work and caring. It is soft, pure, and helps us live. Krishna's love for butter as a child shows his love for the pure, innocent, and untouched devotion of his followers. The mishri, or sugar crystals, add sweetness, showing the sweetness of love and the joy of the spiritual experience. The offering is like a picture for the best kind of devotion. It tells us that what makes God happy is not necessarily a big or complicated offering, but one that is given with a pure heart, full of innocent love. When a follower offers Makhan Mishri, they are, in a way, offering the purest part of their own heart. This simple food is often the first thing offered to the God statue at midnight after his birth is announced, showing the sweet and pure connection between God and the person who believes. The popular stories about Krishna often focus on his relationship with Radha, or his main 8 wives, the Ashtabharya, like Rukmini and Satyabhama. But there's actually a less known but very important story that talks about Krishna having 16,108 wives in total. This huge number, though, isn't really meant to be taken as a real human marriage. Instead, it's a strong story that shows Krishna's job as a godly protector and rescuer. So the story comes from when he met the demon Narakasura, who had taken and locked up 16,100 princesses in his city. After beating Narakasura, Krishna set these women free. But then, they faced a big social problem. Having been held captive by the demon, they worried that society would reject them, and they would have no home or honor to go back to. In an act of great kindness, and honestly to give them back their dignity, Krishna accepted all 16,100 of them as his wives, giving them the status and protection of being queens of Dwarka. This story, I think, really shows a different side of Krishna. Not the lover or the planner, but the ultimate safe place for those who are weak and suffering. The number itself shows his endless ability to offer shelter and kindness to all souls who look for him. You can't imagine Krishna without his flute, the bansuri. It is, honestly, a part of who he is. The sound of his flute was said to be so charming that it could put a spell on all living things, people, animals, and even the rivers and trees of Vrindavan. On Janmashtami, this godly musical heritage is honored through decorations. Flutes, often beautifully decorated with peacock feathers, ribbons, and beads, are a main part of how temples, homes, and the little beds made for baby Krishna are decorated. This is more than just decoration, it's full of meaning. The flute is made from bamboo, which is hollow. This hollowness means a person who has emptied themselves of being self-important and wanting worldly things. Only when someone becomes such an empty tool can the godly breath, or prana, flow through them to make a beautiful, godly song. The flute in the decorations always reminds us of this spiritual goal, to become a perfect tool in God's hands, letting His will and His music flow through us. It's a call to give in, to become a way for God's expression to come into the world. Janmashtami is a festival where stories are told. Krishna's life is so full of drama, feelings, and exciting adventures that it's perfect for acting out. All over India, especially in the Braj area of Mathura and Vrindavan, and in states like Gujarat and Rajasthan, this storytelling happens through Jankis and Ras Leela. Jankis are detailed displays, like living scenes, that show different parts of Krishna's life. You might see one Janki showing his birth in a prison cell, another showing him lifting the Govardhan hill, and a third showing his godly dance with the gopis. These are not just still displays. Communities and temples put a lot of effort into making these scenes with statues, props, and sometimes real people acting. The Ras Leela is a more active type, a traditional play that mixes music, dance, and acting out parts of Krishna's life. These performances are not just for fun, they are a type of bhakti or devotion. By watching and taking part in these acts, people who believe get lost in Krishna's world. They feel Devaki's sadness, Yashoda's joy, and the gopis' godly love, making the old stories feel real, alive, and very personal. We often think of old stories as being timeless, existing in a place beyond our calendars. However, many smart people and stargazers in the Indian tradition have tried to find the exact date of Krishna's birth using descriptions from holy books and calculations of stars. Based on details found in books like the Srimad Bhagavatam and the Mahabharata, which describe how planets were lined up when he was born, a date has been figured out. According to these calculations, Krishna was born on the 8th day of the dark half of the month of Bhadrapada, in the year 3228 BCE. Following this timeline, the year 2023 marked a very special moment. Some celebrated it as the 5250th birthday of Lord Krishna. Whether you believe this specific date is a real historical fact or something made up by people who study religion, it's a very interesting idea. It puts the big story of Krishna's life into a real time frame, connecting the huge and godly with our human way of measuring history. It adds another layer of wonder to the celebration, inviting us to think about how much time has passed during which Krishna's story has been told, retold, and loved by billions. From the national holiday in Bangladesh to the human pyramids of Maharashtra, from the strictness of the nirjala fast to the abundance of the Chappan Bhog, we see that Janmashtami is not just one simple festival. It's a rich, living blanket woven from countless threads of history, culture, ideas, and pure heartfelt devotion. The stories and traditions we've looked at today show us a celebration that is both very personal and truly global, old in its roots yet lively and fresh in the modern world. It's a festival that changes, grows, and finds new meaning in every heart it touches. These unique facts and practices aren't just little bits of information. They are windows into the true feeling of the celebration. They show why Krishna continues to be one of the most loved figures in the spiritual world of people. He is the playful child, the wise teacher, the godly lover, and the ultimate protector. Janmashtami is a celebration of all these parts, a day to remember that God can be approached not just with respect and awe, but with friendship, laughter, and love. It is this easy access, this closeness, that makes the festival so meaningful and long-lasting. As we finish our journey, the story continues in your homes and your communities. The beauty of a tradition like this is in the personal ways it is celebrated. I invite you to share your own Janmashtami experiences in the comments below. What are the special traditions in your family or your area? What does this festival mean to you? Let's keep this celebration of knowledge and devotion going together.